Hey everybody, this is Denny.
And this is James from TDB bringing you episode number 152. So this week we have some raw pu'erh from 2014. This is Tea Urchin's 2014 Xikong, so their own production. So
very cool.
Excited to try this guy out.
Young and delicious. It's looking good. Looks like it's pretty, not too hard packed.
Yeah, nice whole leaves. Yeah, definitely on the looser compression end of things.
Cool.
Just a rinse.
Looks pretty green. Have you had this before yet, James?
I have had this. Yes, I have had this. I had it quite a while ago, actually, a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have positive memories of it, but
hook me up.
Excited to give it another go. The aroma is not super strong on it right now.
Yep. It's good though. It's got a good little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah, floral, maybe some nuts.
Yum yum. Brewing out pretty yellow. And are you doing 2 rinses here?
Nope. We will be drinking this.
Cool. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Let that cool for a second.
Light. A little bit of a little salty-ish kind of stuff going on. Hints of sweetness, little hints of that smoky, earthy. So this is we're now smelling the second steeping.
Yes.
It's definitely opening up. Got a little bit of those medicinal fungi smells, je ne sais quoi, if you will. What are you thinking?
Well, it's interesting because it's definitely not as sweet as I remember it. It's got a little bit of sweetness, but it's definitely not a sweet tea, or not what I would call a sweet tea.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the previous tea, also it's thicker, more closer,
actually,
stronger.
That is a good point. I was gonna say, that is a good point. The viscosity is quite nice already. And just as a side note for you new folks to TDB. When he says sweet tea, we don't mean sweet tea from the South.
That's definitely true. It's a good qualification to make.
So sweet as in Camellia sinensis that has a sweet flavor, not as in Coca-Cola made from tea.
Yes.
Which is, I have a friend who very much thinks that Mr. T is healthy. Mr. T is 40 grams of sugar, mixed with some tea.
It's not healthy? I'm not that friend.
I don't. Yeah.
Just saying, I'm not that.
I don't think so. I think we'll see.
Because I hear health benefits about Mr. T.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Definitely opening up more.
I think it does taste a lot sweeter now. The viscosity is really nice. It's almost got like a white tea silkiness to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of floral notes to it, kind of like wildflowers. I almost feel like.
Yeah, and definitely smoky. Not crazy smoky, but definitely has that raw flavor.
That raw pu'erh base.
Exactly. And I mean, we've tasted some raw pu'erhs that don't. But this is fitting that sort of young raw category really nicely.
And this is actually quite interesting for me to drink right now because it's changed. This is definitely a different tea, or it feels very different than when I had it 3 months ago and I think 6 months ago for the first time. And when these teas are young, they will change and differ
rapidly.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So It's interesting for me to try. I'm still trying to get a feel for kind of how it is at this point.
Yeah. Well, this is nice. It has light notes of sweetness, light notes of that smokiness. It's like the crispness of this tea has just faded a little bit. Getting more of that medicinal vibe now. It's got a good body. I don't think there's much. There's not a lot of boldness to this tea, and I think that can be, if done poorly, bad. If done well, great. So I wouldn't say this is a value judgment by any means, just more of a description.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's not like a really dominant, oh my god, I'm tasting like stone fruit or something like that flavor.
Right.
The viscosity, it's almost like you have the viscosity and then there's kind of a bunch of minor flavors going on.
Mm-hmm. Maybe just the smallest hint of vanilla flavors at the very end of it, which are kind of nice. Add a little bit of complexity and interesting, sort of pensive characteristics.
So this fourth steep, I reheated the water, and it's a little bit darker.
Yep.
So
looks like it.
I think this will be the last steep that we try.
Yeah.
But it should be interesting to see.
And that last one, I am getting a little bit more tannin, mouth pucker a little bit too.
Yeah.
So these next few, I think, will be the most interesting, and I think we're tasting the evolution of the tea a little bit better now, whereas the first two steepings were a little bit light and underdeveloped. So.
And I think one of the nice things about sort of like that mouth pucker or that astringency that Denny's referring to is like with raw pu'erh, especially how it sort of like develops in your mouth and can become sweeter. So like right now, I definitely got some of those like stronger notes that Denny referred to, but my mouth feels like I'm predominantly tasting sweet flavors right now in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Just getting that raw characters, just boom right there. A little bit more of the smoke. I think it's not. I'm not tasting the sort of mineral-y flavors that I was early on, as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd say it's just like kind of like Denny said, more of that sort of like strong shung raw pu'erh base.
Exactly.
So interesting. Go ahead.
I think this tea has a lot of room to mature, is what it tastes like to me, honestly. It's good now, but it tastes of promised flavors that will be better, I think, later on. Get a little bit more bold. That raw front might die down a little bit. Maybe some of those sweeter notes, maybe a little bit of that vanilla, a little bit of those minerals might come up a little bit.
Yeah.
And balance out a little better. It's good. It's not my favorite tea.
Yeah. So would you say maybe that this tea... So with raw pu'erh, it's kind of interesting because sometimes tea can it'll taste delicious early, like let's say the pound cake.
Right.
Once those top floral notes start to age off, but more of the aged notes haven't developed, it can taste kind of weird. It doesn't really know what it's trying to be.
Right.
Do you think this tea would kind of fall into that category?
I think it would actually fall in the opposite category, where right now it's tasting like it's not kind of coming, like it's a bad Tetris board, and eventually it's going to come together and fit more betterist.
More betterist.
So insofar as, like I said, those intense raw flavors, they're light in the beginning. Then right now, for steeping or so, they're pretty strong. Maybe brewing this with a little bit less leaf might help that, maybe.
Yeah.
It smells great. It tastes good. It's just not coupling. The flavor profiles aren't coupling perfectly quite yet. That's not a bad thing. Again, we're just drinking a young, underdeveloped tea, insofar as this tea does taste underdeveloped. The pound cake, it's one of those drink as fast as you possibly can teas. And this one seems to be kind of drink it slowly and hold it tea. So
got it.
Nothing wrong with that.
So there's some stock market advice from Mr. Chapin.
Buy now.
Yeah.
GOOG.
We're going to put on suits for the next episode. Oh, just kidding.
So, folks who want to learn a little bit more about Tea Urchin,
go check them out at teaurchin.com. They have a lot of good productions. There's a lot of different ones. They especially specialize in sort of like that Iwu area, where this tea is also from, the greater Iwu area.
We've had a lot of their tea. They're great.
Yep.
Check us out on tdb.org. Releasing videos on a weekly basis, episodes like this, as well as articles, in between episodes, Instagram episodes, Periscope episodes, all sorts of episodes.
Yeah.
So check us out there.
We trademark episodes.
We have.
No, we definitely haven't.
And we have not. So we're not lawyers, and we are not pretending to be them on the internet. Thanks so much for watching.
And cheers, guys.
Cheers.